Welcome and welcome back to my channel Boomsby Beauty. My name is Juliana and you're highly welcome to my first tag video. So I'm doing my first tag video today, and the tag is called Eyeshadow Palette Wishlist Tag. Lonette from LBD Beauty actually tagged me, and she was tagged by Lori from It's Lori's Life. I will link both of their channels in the description box. I think Lonette tagged me because she knows I love eyeshadow palettes, and it might seem like I have no eyeshadow on my wish list because I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, but I do have some on my wish list. Alright, the rules of the tags are that I choose 5 eyeshadow palettes, and for each of the eyeshadow palettes I have to ask 3 questions. The first question is, why do I want the palette? Why do I want it? And the second question is, why didn't I buy the palette? And lastly, would I buy it now? So again, why do I want the palette? Why didn't I buy it? And would I buy it now? Alright, now let's get into the 5 eyeshadow palette on my wish list. The first eyeshadow palette on my wish list is the Micaela Palette from Glamlite Cosmetics. So she did a collaboration with Glamlite, and she came out with a palette. That is the first eyeshadow on my wish list. So why do I want this palette? It is an absolutely beautiful palette. That palette is beautiful, well thought of, well put together, the colors well put together, just a beautiful palette. If it's such a beautiful palette, so then why didn't I buy it? Okay, I didn't buy the palette because of the first 2 rows of the palette. For me, the first 2 rows of that palette, I don't need it. They are in several palettes, and I just can't bring myself to pay that amount for just 3 rows in the palette. For whatever reason, I just can't do it. If the palette had been the bottom 3 rows, especially the bottom 2 rows, they are beautiful. And I'm going to show you a picture where I leave just the 3 rows at the bottom, just so that you can see how beautiful this palette would have been. If it had just been that 3 rows, oh, no question asked, that palette would have been in my collection right now. But as it is, and would I buy it? No, not unless they come out with the bottom 3 rows, or if I can get it for half price, then maybe I can justify buying it, you know, for half price, and you know, consider that the price I've paid for it kind of like goes with the last 3 rows that I love. But for the first 2 rows, no. And that's the reason why I'm not buying the Micaela palette. Alright, the second palette on my wish list is the Adept Cosmetics and Plain Jane palette. Oh my word, when that palette came out, I loved the palette, despite the fact that I had a lot of, at least a few pinks in the palette, but I wanted the palette. The fact that it was mostly shimmers, I think it's even all shimmers or something, I can't remember, but I really wanted that palette. And I went on their website and, you know, to kind of like look at the palette, how much it is, buy it, and I got there and it was like a 6-month waiting list. And I was like, no, not just a 6-month waiting list, the amount, the price of the palette, that was a no-no. And I thought, no, there is no way I can justify paying that amount for a palette and then wait 6 months to get the palette. And it's not a case of, oh, you're on the waiting list, you don't pay, you pay when you get it. No, 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 you pay and they hold your money for 6 months. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that at all. So that is why I did not buy the palette. Would I buy it now? No, the answer is still no. And the reason why I won't buy it now is because I found what I would call a dupe, and it's from Opv Cosmetics. So it's the Break the Rules palette. I've actually featured this palette in one of my videos, and for me this is enough. This is enough. I don't need the plain gel palette anymore. I don't have to wait 6 weeks. I think for this one I waited about, what was it, 1 or 2 months on the waiting list, which was better, and the price was about half of the price of the Adept Cosmetic Plain Jane one. So it was a no-brainer. Yeah, so yeah, definitely this one is kind of like made up for the fact that I don't have the Adept Cosmetics and Plain Jane palette. The third palette on my wish list is the Sugar Pale Fun Size palette, and this palette, oh my word, when it first came out, I really wanted the palette because it's like your bright neon-like colors is so beautiful. So why didn't I buy the palette? Because I can never find it in stock anywhere. I've looked everywhere. Sometimes you follow an account on Instagram, it announces they have it in stock. By the time I get there, everything is all gone, and it's just ridiculous. So if it comes back in stock, would I buy it now? About 80%. I might. And the reason why I'm 80% is because I recently got Terramoon's neons. The shades I got from Terramoon are literally the shades in the Fun Size palette. So yeah, that kind of made up for the palette, but I don't know. I think part of me still wants the palette, so I don't know. I might get it. Most likely will get it because it's so small and compact and cute. It's such a cute palette. It's such a small and compact palette and it's so beautiful. The colors just keep on calling me every time I look at it. I just want that palette. So I don't know, the jury is out. If he ever comes back in stock, will I buy it? It will depend on how I feel at the time. Yeah. Alright, the fourth palette on my wish list is the Mcgrath Mothership. I believe it was the one she brought out in the holiday period 2018, and it's called Sublime Mothership Bronze Palette. That palette, oh my days. That palette for me is the perfect neutral palette. I mean, the combination of the brown, the orange with the pop of green. I mean, that palette is beautiful. It was part of the Opulence collection and I just missed it. When it came out, I had not started buying from Mcgrath because at that point I still thought there was no way I'm paying that kind of money for palettes. So I did not buy from her then. It was like, no, I'm not buying that. I'm not paying that until I bought the bronze palette, the Mothership 5. And I tried that and I was like, oh wow, I had been missing. But by that time, it was already too late. It had gone out of stock and you can't find it anywhere. I mean, would I buy it now? Absolutely yes, for the right price. But I am not paying the price it is on the website, you know, on all over the site. People are selling it for like 5 times the amount of the palette. No, I'm not doing that. If she ever brings it back, oh my days, yeah, I'll be one of the first people on our website trying to get that palette. Yeah, I would definitely get the palette if she ever brings it back. Definitely, definite yes, no question asked. I'm definitely getting it. Alright, the fifth and final palette on my wish list is the Bloom palette from Opv Cosmetics. Actually, this palette just came out about, I want to say within 2 weeks. Came out about 2 weeks ago, and this palette is beautiful. Why do I want the palette? Oh my days. If you know me, you know the colors I love, then you know that this palette was made for me. It was made for me. The palette is absolutely beautiful. Even the packaging, oh, everything about the palette is just beautiful. It's just screaming my name. So why am I not buying the palette? I am on a low buy. I started a low buy from the 1st of August, and I promised myself I would not buy any palette that I have anything that is similar or I can dupe, or you know, any palette that is not absolutely 1000% worth it. I wasn't gonna buy it, and that is why I haven't got the palette yet. I just cannot bring myself. I went on the website, tried to get it, but my conscience wouldn't let me get it. So I am on a low buy until at least Black Friday. So that's why I'm not getting the palette. But in the meantime, I have duped it. I found similar shades in my singles collection, and I've managed to kind of like tone down my test for the palette, and I'm waiting for Black Friday. So like I said, would I buy it? Definitely, I'll buy it during the Black Friday sales. Even if it's full price at that time, I think I will still buy it, but I just want to try and stick to my low buy. I don't want to break it. I just want to try and stick to my low buy, you know. I'm allowing myself to buy maybe like cheap things or things that I absolutely need. It's not a no buy, it's just a low buy. But that palette is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's mouth-watering. It's actually painful not to have it. Really painful. Every time I see a post on Instagram about it, oh, I really feel the pain, and I go and look at my made-up palette, the one I built from my stash, and I just kind of like quench that test again. And I've been using it during the week as well, but honestly, that palette is beautiful. It was well put together, well designed, beautiful palette. Alright, like I said, I will list Lonette's channel and Lori's channel and the video as well. I will put it in the description box if you want to have a look at their choices, the palettes on their wish list. Okay, since I was tagged by Lonette, I am going to tag somebody too. So I am going to tag V from Simply You Makeup. So V is very conservative when it comes to buying palettes. She likes to use a palette, you know, a lot. Use all the colors, use at least most of the colors in the palette before she moves on to another palette. She's not like me. So I'm actually very interested to see if she has some palettes on her wish list, what she would, you know, want on her wish list. So V, I am tagging you. I would love to see the 5 palettes on your wish list. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you.